So as I said, I was a primary school teacher for 12 years, and now I work for the eLIM EdTech Advisory Support Service, and we support schools with computing, online safety and data protection. Obviously, our role in the last year has been in supporting schools in using technology to deliver the curriculum remotely for the most part, and that's partly why I'm here today, to give you some support with some of the tools that we've been looking at and sharing with schools in the last year. Just a couple of or a few workshop house rules to go through. So Georgia is recording the meeting, just so that you're aware, because obviously if you turn your cameras on or anything, then you'd be part of that recording. Having said that, just to keep things running smoothly, please keep the cameras turned off and your microphones muted, and use the chat feature to ask any questions. I will try to answer questions as we go along, but I'll also try and leave a little bit of time at the end for questions as well. As we've been slightly delayed, I'll get started straight away. So you don't need me to tell you that the way that schools have worked with children has changed dramatically in the last year. Obviously, in the last couple of weeks, we've got all children back in schools, which means things are starting to feel a bit more normal. But hopefully now we're moving to a place where we'll be kind of maintaining a blended learning approach, and that remote learning that we've had to deliver in the last year on and off won't become a necessity, but actually we can take the best parts of it, the best aspects of remote learning, and blend them into our daily classroom use, as well as supporting home learning as well. So what we're hoping for is this kind of move towards a blended learning approach where home learning, school learning and online learning all become kind of integrated, and the best bits of each of those approaches are blended together to give us the most effective way of supporting our children and delivering education. Just as teachers do in the classroom, we always want to know that we're catering for the needs of all our pupils. And this is what this workshop is about today, really. It's about identifying technology tools that can support the needs of individuals within your class who may have specific needs, as well as tools that can support everybody in your class. So the tools that we'll be looking at are tools that, as I say, meet the specific needs of learners, provide access to learning where there may be barriers, help learners of all abilities, not just those with specific needs, and provide equality of opportunity. So the opportunities that we're providing for our pupils in our class are as equal as possible for everybody in the class. We've actually based the workshop around a video that we produced during the first lockdown, which is available on YouTube. And the reason I'm basing the workshop around that video is that we're going to be covering quite a lot of tools today and looking at their functions, the way they can support pupils. So I will leave you with this link to this video, this YouTube video, because that means you can go back to it. So what I'm hoping is the workshop will give you a kind of whistle-stop tour of some of the tools that will be able to support your learners, with some brief opportunities to discuss them and maybe even have a go if we're doing well for time. But then you'll be able to return to the video and pick out the bits of the video that are relevant to your tools that you've got in school, to your pupils, and you'll be able to use those to support your staff in delivering approaches that support all of the pupils in your class or in your school. So that's the link to the YouTube video. I'll come back to that and I'll post that again in the chat later on so that you can use it. I just want to playing the introduction to the video, which hopefully will inspire you and really demonstrate what it is that we're talking about here. So I'm going to switch over from sharing my PowerPoint to sharing the video briefly.
This video supports you in considering accessibility in the online tool you are using, building independent use of the tool, and features to increase learning outcomes. Communication technologies offer amazing tools to support children and young people who have a particular need to help them access their learning. Many of the possibilities offered will help learners of all abilities and certainly provide equality of opportunity for those who may be experiencing a barrier to their learning. Children in this video from Microsoft are describing the difference one tool has made for them.
The true purpose of education is to create possibility.
It was a little hard for me. People laugh whenever I read sometimes.
Well, they knew how to read, and I didn't. I will never be good at reading. I will probably be held back again. It highlights the words to know where I am.
When it's reading, I see spaces between the words, and it's easy to focus on.
The first time I actually could read that book, I was proud of myself. I was very proud of myself.
Good job, Joey.
When technology and education come together, possibility becomes reality.
I want to read every book in here.
We want all our learners to be empowered to work independently, to have the focus they need, and to be able to use the same tools they see their peers using.
So as I say, what we're hoping to do is give you some ideas about tools that you can use which provide opportunities for all pupils. So we're looking at tools that schools have been using anyway. We're mostly going to focus on Microsoft and Google, although there are a couple of others to consider as well. And look at the ways that tools within those pieces of software, and they're free software as well, can support all learners within the classroom to access the same materials and be able to interact with resources in a way that suits them. So the video that you just saw is a Microsoft video. We're going to start the session in terms of in a practical sense by looking at some Microsoft tools. So I'm going to play you the next section of the video now, which introduces you to some tools that are within Microsoft software that can be used for all pupils of all abilities to access their learning. Then hopefully there'll be a little bit of time for you to have a little bit of a play with those tools before we move on to some Google tools and some others as well.
In the Microsoft video, you heard from children how Office has tools that give them the confidence to read more effectively. It also provides the ability to dictate the text they want to use and to show captions for learners where English is their second language. We're going to start by looking at Immersive Reader. This is available online and offline. I'm using the online version, which has the advantage of including the picture dictionary. I've pasted this text from the DK Find Out online encyclopedia. Going to the View menu, I can open Immersive Reader. Immediately, you can see how much more accessible this can make a Word document for many learners. I've set this up using the options within the text preferences, where I've chosen the text size that is best for me. I've chosen to increase the spacing. I've selected Comic Sans as the font I would like to use, and chosen a background colour that will best help me as I read. Using the grammar options, I could choose to have the text shown broken up into syllables to support me as I read. I can choose to have nouns highlighted. So as part of analysing text, I've got this support to help me identify those parts of speech. In the reading preferences, I can choose to have a line focus to support me as I read the document, to focus on the part of the text that I need to look at. at that moment. The reading preferences allow me to turn on the picture dictionary so that as I read, if there's a word I'm uncertain of, I can choose to get that visual clue. That's not available for all words, but where there isn't a picture clue, I can listen to that word.
Constantly.
You'll also notice that I've got the ability to listen in a different language. In those reading preferences, you can choose which language you would like to have available. I'm going to go for Czech, and I can choose to have that available by word. Or I can choose to have the translation of the whole document. Once those options are set up, each time I log into my online Office account, I'll see Immersive Reader in this way. I can also use it to listen to the text. Bottom of the screen
Is constantly moving. It is recycled over and over again. This
I can listen to the text. I've got settings that I can use to change the voice speed and choose whether I want to hear a female or a male reading to me. I might decide to add some text to this document. I'm going to exit Immersive Reader and use the Home menu, which means I can select the Dictate tool. As I speak, it will add the words to my document. Full stop. Stop dictating so that I can show you the settings that are available. It will allow me to select auto punctuation, or, as I've been doing, to use voice commands. In PowerPoint, I can turn on captions. As I present, this means that a learner will see what I'm reading in their own language. When I go to slideshow, I can turn on the use of subtitles and choose the language that I would like it to appear in. Here, I've selected Czech. Now, when I play my slides, water on Earth is constantly moving. It is recycled over and over again.
So as I said, that was Whistle Stop, but these are tools that are built into Microsoft software and can, as you see, allow access to the learning for children who may have difficulty with spelling, children who may have difficulty with reading, or children who have English as an additional language. So what I wanted to do now is just give you 5 minutes just to have a look at those tools. I'll put the kind of the reminder of the tools that we've looked at on the screen, so that just to jog your memory. And as I said, we've got the YouTube video there at all times, so that you can always go back to it and look at particularly relevant parts of the video that you wanted to use with pupils in your school. I realise that we've got some business managers in the audience here who this may not be directly applicable to, but hopefully you can think of somebody in school who would really benefit from having this information, and perhaps share the link to the YouTube video with them so that they can support staff and support pupils. I'm still here, but I want to just give you 5 minutes to have a look at Immersive Reader and have a look at subtitles within those Microsoft tools. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat, or open up your microphone if you'd prefer to do that. And I'll wait here. So if I say that we come back just before 11:30, so 11:28, 11:29, just to be really precise, and then we'll have a look at some Google tools as well. But this is an opportunity for you to just have a go with those 3 key Microsoft tools that can support children of all abilities. So Immersive Reader, Dictate, and Subtitles. And you should be able to get to the video just by clicking on the link on the screen, but I'll also post it into the chat in case you want to access the video to re-watch any of those tools to remind you how to do them. Okay, so 5 minutes and then we'll have a look at some Google tools. Thank you. So I've just posted the link into the chat, so hopefully it should be easy for you to get to that video if you wanted to rewatch any of it. And as I said, I'm still here, so please feel free to ask any questions. Hi Claire, I'm just having a look at your screenshot. I realise this is a question you might be answer to, but do you happen to know which version of Word you're working with, and whether you're working online or offline? Okay, do you have access to 365? Because actually there are more features built. No, don't worry about the version. There are more features built into the online version than there are in the offline. So if you're able to access your emails through Office 365 in a web browser, you should be able to find your way to Microsoft Word from there. And then you'll have access to the Immersive Reader. I imagine, oh, well done, Claire, good. I imagine it will just be that your offline version needs an update. And that's possibly why you're not seeing it at the moment in your offline version. I'm hoping that everybody else is getting on okay with that because nobody else has said they got stuck. We are quite tight for time today, so I'm going to be strict on my 5 minutes, I'm afraid. But then I am a teacher, so that's what we do, isn't it? Okay, as I say, we're quite tight for time today, so I do want to be strict on my 5 minutes. So that gives you 2 more minutes. I'm hoping everybody's had time to at least have a go at one of those tools. It would be great to see in the chat which one you tried out and how you got on with it. Becky, brilliant. That's great to hear. Which one of the tools did you try out, Becky, or did you manage to have time for more than one? Great, brilliant. And Anne as well, having success with that. So Becky's managed to use Immersive Reader, get the page to go green. Becky, apologies if I'm telling you things that you already know, but different colour backgrounds can be really powerful in terms of supporting children who have dyslexia, and in fact lots of children, even those who don't have dyslexia, benefit from having different colour backgrounds, and there are different colours that suit different children, so the option to be able to choose your own colour is fantastic. Anne and Maya, I'm really pleased that it's worked so well for you as well. You know, you can imagine the power of that for a child who has always struggled with reading, and all of a sudden can access documents that their peers are reading. You can copy and paste text from a website straight into a Word document and allow them to read it. It suddenly opens up a whole world of text that they couldn't read before, and is incredibly powerful. And as I say, is a free part of Microsoft software. Fantastic, Becky. That's the kind of impact we're looking for. Planned in for an intervention tomorrow. Couldn't ask for better. Brilliant. Right, so I am going to be really strict about time and say that we're going to move on. We know that a lot of schools. Thanks, Claire. We know that a lot of schools, as well as have used Microsoft, but we also know that lots and lots of schools have been working with Google for their remote learning, and hopefully moving towards their blended learning approach now as well. So the video also includes some Google tools, which can support children with accessing their learning in a similar way to the Microsoft tools. The screen reader and the voice typing are similar to those that you've just seen in Microsoft, and then there's an extra feature called Explore, which the video demonstrates as well. So I'm going to switch back over to the video for a few minutes.
Similarly to Microsoft, G Suite from Google also includes accessibility features and tools to help all users access the software. For example, adding an extension called Chromebox to your Chrome web browser enables a screen reader, which can be used to read any text within the browser window. This includes using tools such as Google Docs within the Chrome browser, which means that text can be read back to pupils using the accessibility menu to access the speak option. However, it's worth bearing in mind that this extension isn't currently as easy to use as the Microsoft tools we saw earlier in the video. Google Docs, like Microsoft Word, also offers the opportunity to dictate text, including punctuation, using the voice typing option within the Tools menu. Speak clearly at a normal volume, comma, noting any punctuation, full stop. You can even say words for images, like smiley face. Another example of a tool built into G Suite which can support our pupils is the Explore tool in Google Slides. Using Explore allows the user to search the web without needing to open a new window. This makes research more manageable and includes the opportunity to search for images. Here, I can click on any of these links to open the websites. I can also see the images that resulted from my search and choose one to add to my slideshow.
So as I said, some of those tools are very similar to the tools that are built into Microsoft, and others, that Explore tool that you saw at the end gives children the option, the ability to search the web without leaving the document they're working for. It's built into Google Docs as well as into Google Slides, and it's also based around safe search as well, so that you know that the images or the websites that the children are searching are filtered. Of course, that no filters are perfect and they're not infallible. So we always need to maintain those online safety messages and supervision as well, and making sure children know what to do if they do come across something inappropriate. But because those Explore searches are built around safe search, the chance of them coming across something inappropriate is much reduced. Unfortunately, we don't have time for you to actually try out those tools today, but as I said, you can always come back to this video at any point. That's why we're showing the video with you, so that you can look at those particular tools. We're really keen to be able to show you a few other things as well now. So the next part of the video talks through other considerations. So they're not things that are necessarily directly built into Microsoft or directly built into Google, but they're based around tools that can either integrate with those pieces of software or can be used as kind of additional things, and tools that we know that lots of schools are using anyway. Starts off with Seesaw and moves on to some other things as well as some considerations around gaming. So I will play the next part of the video, and then there's a couple of I'm hoping I've got time to give you a couple of demonstrations of other things as well at the end.
A great app to support pupils in collaborating on and responding to tasks is Seesaw. Like the Google and Microsoft tools we've already seen, this is a free tool which can be set up by any school. Tasks can be assigned and pupils complete them online. Pupils can respond to a task in the way that best suits their needs. For example, taking a photo, drawing or writing directly on the screen, recording a video, typing, or uploading or linking to another file. For schools already using Google Classroom, setup is very straightforward, as classes can be imported directly from Google. Activities assigned in Seesaw can be directly linked from Google Classroom, and Google Classroom tasks can be added to Seesaw to allow pupils to use the full range of Seesaw tools to respond. The combination of Google Classroom with Seesaw is a powerful way to enable all pupils to access the same tasks using the same resources.
Purple Mash provides a whole variety of tools and materials, activities that can support different learners. You can set up tasks and scaffold the learning. So using the same example of the water cycle, you can add in the images you want children to use to describe what they've learnt. You could set up galleries for children to select the images and put them in the order that they're needed before they add their text. Clicking on the plus will allow them to make that selection. Or you can make use of one of the resources included in Purple Mash. So for the water cycle, they could make use of this task where they've got prompts set up to remind them what they need to think about, and they can make use of the clip art available. Those prompts could be edited to make them simpler, or for the children to use those as keywords that when they clicked on would be added immediately into the document that they're making. Serial Mash also includes a set of books called Firebots. These are science fiction and sports books, which are aimed at lower ability readers that are older, and you want to provide something that will hold their interest.
Many young people with specific needs enjoy playing computer games, but can at times face barriers caused by the design of a game. The accessibility in game search within the Family Video Game Database provides a great opportunity for families to select games which have accessibility features to suit their needs. Here, the editor of the database, Andy Robertson, describes how the accessibility search works.
A big part of the family video game database are the accessibility details we put in for each of the games we add to the system. So you can see here in the accessibility area, Fall Guys here has 21 different accessibility options in the different areas, and these are individually flagged in the database. This gives us a nice printout here of what the accessibility is, so you can have a clear idea of whether this game is suitable and easy to play. But it also means that you can search the database for games of a particular style and with particular accessibility features. So for instance, if you were playing The Messenger, but maybe you found that the visuals of this game were hard to see, it's quite a dark platform game, there's quite a bit of movement in the background, you could use the database search to find alternative games to play that might suit your needs. The thing to know is what genre it is. So this is mainly a platform game, so you can see in the description. So if we go to the search, let's put in a general search of genre. We're going to look for platform games. Minimum age rating, we don't want it to be too old, so let's say 16 or under. But now we're going to go to the accessibility features. If you click this button, you can see here, visibility. We want to have a bright, colourful palette. So let's see what that gives us. If we search games, you can see we've got some results of platform games that have got a bright palette to choose from here. But maybe we want to add some additional accessibility criteria. So let's look for platform games that give us a tutorial to get us started, as well as having bright, colourful palette. We click search. The list is refined for us, and we can again see our list of platform games, and we can refine this further. So let's take that a step further to say we'd actually like games that are low pressure, that they're not time limited in the things we're trying to achieve, so we can take our time with the game and not have to rush. So let's search again. And the list at the bottom here is refreshed. So we've got 3 games. How about one final criteria, that we don't want to have to hold buttons down to do any operation. And there you go, we've got down to 1 game. Now this is early days in the database, we're still adding lots of accessibility data, but you can see already how this information can help you refine and discover games that will be really good for you or for your child to play.
We've looked very briefly at Microsoft Education, G Suite for Education, Seesaw and Purple Mash, and are aware that we've shown only a very small selection of the available features in these tools, and also that there are other tools available, such as those offered in Just Too Easy. We hope you've been able to see how the tools we've shown can make a difference to your learners, and identified ones that you will make use of in your school. The Education Endowment Foundation finds the importance of ensuring access to technology for all pupils in order to develop effective online learning. To meet the needs of the disadvantaged pupils, they encourage teachers to know the platform you are using, know the needs of your learners, and recognise accessibility options. Do get in touch if you would like further information or some CPD for your school.
I hope that video has been useful in terms of just giving you an overview of the types of tools that you can be considering. Maybe some tools that you're already using in school, maybe some tools that you hadn't heard of before. We know that many schools subscribe to Purple Mash, for example, but hadn't necessarily considered ways in which Purple Mash can support the needs of specific learners. Seesaw is a fantastic app, which we recommend schools look at. Integrates really nicely with Google Classroom, but actually doesn't need to be used in that way. And we do know schools who are using Seesaw for their remote or blended learning offer completely on its own, and also schools who are using it in tandem with Microsoft remote learning options as well. gaming in the accessibility features within the taming gaming database are a fantastic way for children who may have barriers, again, to accessing certain games, interacting with gaming in the same way that their peers do. So again, empowering them to be able to do the things that they see their friends doing. We don't have a huge amount of time left, but I'm really keen to just show you 2 more tools just before we go. So apologies that this is all so quick, but it means that you can come back to any of these things at any point. The 2 tools I want to show you to finish off with are Chrome extensions. So they're things that you add to your Chrome browser, which allow you to perform certain actions. Mote is a voice recording tool, which I want to show you, which integrates directly with Google Classroom, so it's particularly good for schools who are using Google Classroom. Screencastify, although it is a Chrome extension, actually allows you to record your screen really easily, so it can integrate with any tool at all. So I'm going to switch over now from sharing the PowerPoint just to sharing my screen in general so that I can demonstrate. So I'm hoping that everybody can see my screen well enough. And I've got a training Google Classroom here. So for those people who use Google Classroom, you'll recognize this class stream. So these are the things that have been going on in my classroom. This is a training classroom, so there's no children's names or anything like that. And at the top here, I can switch over to classwork. So just to save time today, for the sake of speed, I've already set up some assignments. I've assigned them to the class, my pretend class, and then I've gone in as a pupil and responded to those as well. So the one I'm going to have a look at now is called Using Explore within Google Tools, which is using that tool that we looked at earlier on in the video. So I set an assignment where the pupils, the pretend pupils, had to use Explore to find an image, insert it into a Google slide. What I want to show you is this Mote tool. So you might notice at the top of my Google Chrome browser here, I've got the Mote extension already installed. That's something that's completely free, like all the other tools that we've looked at, and can be found by clicking on the Jigsaw Puzzle extension button here. Again, for the sake of speed, I've already installed it, so I'm just going to demonstrate the way that it works. So one of the things that teachers can do within Google Classroom is leave comments on pupils' work. So just like you would in their book, you might write a comment using a pen. You can type comments. So if I wanted to comment on this work, I can type a comment in this private comments box over here, or I can actually highlight a particular part of the work and leave a comment by right-clicking directly on that aspect of the work. So I can type a comment here. I can put nice use of large text, for example. Not particularly useful comment, but just for the sake of demonstration. But for some pupils who, again, might struggle with reading, and also actually just to save teachers time, sometimes it might be easier to record a comment. So let's say that I wanted to comment on this chocolate orange here. I can right click and comment, click on comment, just like I did with the text. And rather than typing my comment, I'm actually going to click on the Mote icon, which appears in the comment box as soon as you install that Mote extension. So instead of typing my comment, I can record it instead. Well done, what a great picture to choose. I love chocolate orange. So obviously your comments can be on anything, you know, just like you would mark your work in the classroom anyway. It comes up instantly as a direct link to where that comment is saved in the cloud. But if I click comment, it actually saves it directly into this document. So when the pupil comes back into the document, they can see that the teacher has left them a comment and they can click play to hear it. I'm not sure whether you'll hear this because I don't think I shared my sound when I shared my screen, but just to show you. So as I say, I'm not sure that you would have heard that actually, because I think I forgot to share my sound. So I'll just quickly swap over, share the screen again, including the sound this time. So hopefully you'll hear it this time. Well done, what a great picture to choose. I love chocolate orange. So as you can see, a really nice way for teachers to comment on pupils' work, give instructions on work, leave feedback, and for children to instantly be able to hear their teacher's voice, not have to read the comment, and also, as I say, save teachers time as well. recording that voice comment, it could be a lot quicker than actually typing lots of different comments. As I said, the other extension that I wanted to show you really quickly is this extension called Screencastify. It's one of many screen recorders that are available, but actually we find it's a really easy one to use and suits teachers' needs. So just like with Mote, I've already installed it. So here it is at the top. And Screencastify allows you to record short videos to share with your pupils or to share with anybody you like. So in the same way as I did with Mote, I just have to click on record and the recording will end up saved in the cloud. It will end up in my Google Drive. So I could do this as an explanation for the whole class, which I then share with the whole class, or I could do it to comment on individual pieces of work, or I could do it just to address some misconceptions. There's all sorts of uses for this, which will allow all the pupils to access it and give that interaction with the teacher, which might be missing if you're in a remote situation. So I'll just demonstrate this one as well. And I've got the choice, as you can see, to have my camera embedded as well. So I just choose what I want to share. So I'm going to share my entire screen for now and share. I get a 3, 2, 1. Hi everybody, I just wanted to show you this example of a Google Slides document. I can move this picture around and put it wherever I like. And I'm also at the same time demonstrating the way Screencastify works. So it records my voice, it records me in the corner if I want it to, and it records everything that's happening on my screen. And as soon as I want it to stop, I click on Stop Sharing. So just like with Mote, that video that I've just made is instantly saved. It's saving it, as you can see, to my Google Drive, so I can share that using the link in the normal way. I can publish it to YouTube, I can send it in an email, but actually the most common way to do it would be to copy the shareable link, which you can now paste anywhere. So if I went back to my classroom, I could actually announce to my class, to help with your assignment, just paste that link straight in, which means that they can then watch that video. In terms of supporting your class when you're working remotely, it's really powerful for them to be able to see the teacher, to hear the teacher, to demonstrate something specific that you wanted the children to do. So it's a really powerful tool, again, in terms of helping all children engage with the work in the same way. I can see that I've missed a few comments in the chat while I've been demonstrating things, so apologies if you've been asking me questions. We are pretty much at the end of the workshop. I said right at the beginning that it would be whistle stop because we wanted to just have the opportunity really to share as many different things as possible with you. So those are the tools that we've looked at. Just before we go, and I'm happy to stay here for a few minutes to answer questions, but just have a think to yourself about which tools that we've seen are going to support learners at your school. Which ones do you think actually that's going to be really powerful for this group of children, or for this class, or for this teacher to use, or perhaps for all the teachers at my school? And then consider, in terms of your whole blended learning offer, are there other tools that your school are already using where considering the accessibility features could support other pupils who may currently have barriers to access those tools? Really happy to answer questions. So I can see some really nice positive comments in the chat, so thank you for that. No questions at the moment, but I'm happy to answer any you've got. As I said, that video that I showed you is there on YouTube, so you can share it with other staff at your school. You can go back to it and watch particular aspects of it that may be useful to you. And you can get in touch with us at any point if you've got any questions about the things that we've talked about today, or in actual fact, any support with your computing, your online safety, or your data protection at school. Please do use those contact details there. And I will leave you with the SSE contact details in case you want to get in touch about any of the services that SSE provide. I'm here for 5 more minutes, so please do ask any questions, but I'm aware that people will want to get away to observe the 1 minute silence as well, so I won't keep you unless you want to hang on. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, whoever DM is. Nice to have you with us, and I hope it's been a helpful session. Thank you, Maya. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Sarah. I'm glad it was helpful. Thank you, Claire.